If you have sleep paralysis, you may not want to watch tonight's True Scary Story because it's going to scare the crap out of you. I got this story from Radio Rental, so credit to them, and we're going to call the girl in the story Abby. Abby and her husband married young, and they married fast. They got married after 8 months of knowing each other, and then they got pregnant after 6 months. So Abby thought that parenting would be an easy transition because she had actually worked in childcare before, but then she quickly realized that having a child is way more involved and exhausting than she thought it was going to be. Abby thought of parenting, she thought of like the fact that she's never going to rock her to sleep every night. She's always going to put her in her crib. She's never gonna have her laying on her chest. She had all these ideas of what parenthood would be like, but in reality, when she finally had the baby, she was like, oh my God, I will do anything to get this baby to go to sleep. Even if it meant that the baby was sleeping on her or that the baby was sleeping next to her in a bassinet and she would leave her hand like on her baby's stomach at night. This meant that she got very little sleep. Now her baby was about 2 years old when this happened, and her husband was working full time. He was actually doing some overtime hours because she wasn't working at the time, so he was kind of picking up the slack for her and the baby, and he was an electrician. So his work was very laborious and physical, and they were still getting to know each other. She knew that he had sleep paralysis, and she knew that in these sleep paralysis incidents, he would try to yell out for her. He would try to yell out for something to get off of him. But the thing was is that he wasn't really making actual sounds. He was making those sounds that you make when you have sleep paralysis. If you've ever had it before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of like a grunting, moaning sound that's very, very quiet. And he would ask Abby, like, if I have these sleep paralysis incidents and you hear me doing this, please kick me out of it, or please get me up some way, because it's terrifying. She would do this for him because this sounded beyond scary to her because she had never had it before. Now they were very young parents, and they obviously didn't get much sleep, and if they did get sleep, it usually was pretty restless because as first-time parents, they were really scared that something was going to happen to their baby. So she would often watch her baby sleep and just watch her stomach rise and fall just to make sure that she was okay. Now one night they were particularly tired, and they were hoping that they could just get like a little bit of sleep, just a couple of hours of sleep, and they had their baby's bassinet right next to their bed. So they get in bed, they put their baby in the bassinet, and they fall asleep with no issues. A couple of hours later, she wakes up to her husband making the same vocalizations that he makes when he's having sleep paralysis. So she knows that he's having a sleep paralysis incident. So she wakes up, she rolls over, she opens her eyes, and she looks at her daughter. And at this point, she is a little irritated because she really needed sleep. And so she's like, why is this happening tonight? Why does it have to happen tonight? So she makes sure that her daughter's okay. She does not want to wake her up. Like, that is her main concern, is not waking her daughter up. So after she makes sure that her daughter's okay, she rolls over to wake her husband up. And then suddenly she feels something. She feels a presence in the room. She said at this point, she kind of felt like she was in a dreamlike state, but she knows that she wasn't dreaming because she distinctly remembers rolling over and putting the blanket over her daughter and making sure that her daughter was okay. So she knew that she was awake. When she looks at her husband, she realizes something. There's a woman standing over her husband, staring straight at him, and she has one hand on his chest. She said that this woman was literally breathing him in, and she couldn't see her face because she was 2 inches away from her husband's face. So her face was so close to her husband's face that she couldn't see either of their faces like as distinctly as she normally would be able to. And she noticed that she was so close to his face that every time that he would try to say something or he would try to call out for help, his breath would cause a disturbance in this woman's hair. So this woman's hair was kind of covering his face, and every time he would try to make one of those noises, he would breathe and her hair would move. Now the woman is now nose to nose with him, just like literally staring into the essence of him. And she suddenly sees the whites of this woman's eyes, but she can't see anything else because of how close she is to her husband's face. And this woman is not looking away from him, even though she probably knows that Abby is sitting right there staring at her. Now Abby is thinking, like, who is in my house? How do I get her out of here? And why is she so close to my husband's face? Now, being a new mom and kind of at her wit's end, she sped right past being like scared and right to being pissed off. She's trying to sleep, and this woman is in her room and right in her husband's face. So in the most menacing voice she can think of or portray, she gets right in the woman's face, literally as close as she can to the woman's face, and she whispers, "He's mine." She did this because she was trying to break the connection of the two of them, of whatever was going on, and also because she's a bad ass. After she does this, the woman doesn't move away right away, but she does start to slowly back off of him. Still, dead eyes on her husband, never looking away, and Abby is just sitting there like, what the hell is going on? Now she's thinking that this woman is going to go out the door because in her mind, she still doesn't know if this is an intruder or not. Instead, she backs into the corner of their room, and they had like this old wood paneling on their wall. This woman's body just went right through it, just kind of evaporated. Like she could literally see the wood paneling going through this woman as she backed into the wall. At this point, she's thinking, I'm either dreaming or I've lost my mind and I just need to go back to sleep. She remembers very distinct features of this person and what she was wearing. She was wearing like this white long shirt that was dirty. It had buttons on it and it was a little too big for her, and she honestly just looked homeless. Her husband leaves for work pretty early the next morning, and he leaves before her and her daughter wake up. So he gets home around 2:30 in the afternoon, and after they had settled down and like made dinner and everything and started chit-chatting, she finally asked him, did you have a sleep paralysis incident last night? He goes, yeah, but it didn't last long. Like, I remember it happening, but then it just stopped. She tells him, I think I saw whatever bothers you. And his response was, no, you didn't. Like, that you were dreaming. This isn't real. And she was like, no, it was a woman. And at that point, he got silent. Now, they had never really talked about what this thing looked like because she could tell that it disturbed him and she didn't want to push it. She felt like these type of things need to come organically from a person. And she's right. But then she explains the hair, the way she was looking at him and how close she was to his face. And then she explained what she was wearing. And then he just looks at her and he goes, that's what I've seen since I was a kid. He had started seeing this thing when he was about 5 or 6 years old, but it got more intense after he had gotten giardia as a kid. He said that every time it would happen, it would start at the foot of his bed, and then she would get closer and closer to him, and then she would get right in his face, and she would telepathically let him know every time he tried to scream or yell out that he wasn't able to, and she could hear him telepathically as he was talking back to her, and she would just let him know, you can't scream. And the craziest thing about the story, you guys, is that after this incident, he had never seen that woman ever again. He'd had sleep paralysis after this, but he just never saw that woman again. So what do you guys think about this story? Do you think that the wife made this woman, or whatever it was, go away by whispering, he's mine? Because I think that there was some connection there and that she was able to rid this spirit for her husband. I think that just goes to show what love can do, you know? I also think it's utterly terrifying knowing that another person saw someone else's sleep demon while they were awake, and they described it to a T of what the person sees when they're asleep and having sleep paralysis. That terrified me. Let me know if you guys have any stories like this, because I would love to hear them. And also drop all your thoughts and opinions and suggestions like in the comments, because I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And with that being said, I'm now going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. First shout out is going to Sparkly Creation 611. You left such a sweet comment. I loved that comment. Thank you so much for your kind words. It truly means everything to me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for complimenting me and being kind. Thank you for being a part of my little community. It means the world to me that you even watch my channel. Like, I'm so honored. So thank you so much. Don't ever change. I love you. My next shout out is going to Cheyenne Pike 3. You also left such a sweet comment. Like, that made my whole day when you said that. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for supporting me. I'm so honored that you support me. Honestly, I am so lucky to have all of you guys, but thank you for being kind, and thank you just for being a part of my little community. Your kind words mean the world to me, and your support means the world to me. So thank you. I love you. Don't ever change. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every single night that you guys submit to me. So if you're into that, hit that follow button. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? I need you to keep sending me your scary stories, have a safe night, and what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.
Let's talk about scary sleep paralysis. If you're new here, hi. I usually talk about pretty scary stuff, and I just heard the scariest story I have ever heard about sleep paralysis. And it was from one of my boyfriend's friends. Let's get into it. If you don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's essentially when your body is fully asleep but your mind is awake. What I mean by that is your mind is fully functioning but you are physically unable to move. A lot of people say that they have negative experiences with sleep paralysis because they are thinking of scary things happening, so scary things do happen. And just for some baseline context, this person was like 7 or 8 years old on a road trip that took about 2 days with himself, his sister, his mom, and his dad. They're taking this pretty large vehicle from what I can imagine my brain, because they were able to put down all the seats in the back to lay out like this huge bed for him and his sister to sleep on while they're on this road trip. So him and his sister are sleeping. His parents pull into a gas station. They wake him up and are like, hey, when we knock on the window, let us back in because we're going to leave the keys in the car. He says, okay, closes his eyes because he knows he'll wake up when his parents knock on the window. Not 5 minutes later, he hears the driver's side door open and somebody climb in. He's immediately thinking like, oh, one of my parents is back. They didn't take the keys. They changed their mind because they knew that we were sleeping, something like that. Until he hears heavy breathing. And if that wasn't scary enough, this heavy breathing was also accompanied by scratching. And this family had leather seats in their car, so it was pretty prominent. And as he starts to open his eyes, he is convinced that it is his sister playing a trick on him. And at this point, the breathing is getting heavier and heavier, and the scratching is getting louder and louder and louder. And he goes to turn and look at his sister, and he realizes he cannot move. And at this point in the story, when he's telling me, he says that it seriously sounded like someone was ripping the chair open from how hard they were scratching at it. And he says he starts trying to wake his body up, and he is fighting it hard. And eventually he comes out of it, he turns over, and his sister is sleeping, and there is no one there. Shortly after this, his parents knock on the window like they said they were going to, and he lets them in and lets them know what happened. They essentially said like, oh, it's okay because it wasn't real. I primarily think this is a much scarier story than I'm used to reading about sleep paralysis because he couldn't see what was going on. And I personally have not experienced sleep paralysis, and I think that's because my anxiety doesn't allow me to, so knock on wood, I don't want to experience that. But anyways, that's gonna do it for me. Stay tuned for my ghost stories.
If you are dreaming and someone asks to hold your hands, never let them. So this lady says that growing up, her mom always told her that if you're dreaming of someone who has already passed away and they come to you in your dreams asking to hold your hands, to never let them because they can take you with them. She explains how she never really understood if her mom was just saying that to scare them or if she really meant what she was saying. She says that her mother has since passed away. However, her mom came to her in a dream and she remembers everything she was wearing down to like her nails, that they were still done, because she remembers that in life her mom always had her nails done. So in the dream, the mom looks at her and she's like, you're not scared of me? And the lady, she's like, no, what? Like, why would I be scared of you? You're my mom. And the very next thing her mom told her was, give me your hands. And she told her, no, why do you want my hands? But she does say that she did touch her in the dream, like her shoulder, and that she remembers how cold her mom was in the dream. And when she told her mom, no, why do you want my hands? Her mom was like, no, daughter, just give me your hand. Come on, give me your hand. She says that she told her, no, mom, I'm okay. I don't want to take your hand. And she woke up. That was the end of the dream. Once she wakes up, she feels kind of guilty for not giving her mom her hands, but she remembered, like even in her dream, she remembered that her mom living would tell her never take their hands. So she's like, did my mom want to take me with her? I mean, in that moment, she's like laying in bed with her two daughters. So she's like, why would my mom want to take me away and leave my two daughters here alone? So then she thought something different. She was like, what if that was not my mom? I'm over here like, what if the mom came just to test her and see if she learned her lesson about not taking somebody's hand? But I don't know. Either way, it's creepy. It's a little scary, especially when it's like your loved ones and you're like thinking like, oh my god, I should have taken her hand, because she's still feeling guilty about it. And honestly, I would probably feel guilty too. If you want to listen to the story in Spanish, this is what's gonna look like, and it's called Relatos de Luna Llena. But what do you guys think? Has this ever happened to you? Are you going to take anybody's hand? Hopefully the answer is no.
Hi guys, I am back with another spooky story, and this one is actually spooky. You might not want to watch this one at night. No, seriously. You don't want to accidentally psych yourself out now. Why do dream characters get so mad when you realize that you're dreaming? This happened to me a couple of times. The most prevalent one that I actually remember. So basically, the dream starts, I'm on a train. And when the dream first started, I didn't realize that I was dreaming. Everything was copacetic, everything seemed normal, fun, cool. And the type of train, let me explain it. They had seats that were facing each other. So it was me sitting on the aisle seat, and to my left was somebody sitting by the window seat. He was a white guy. And in front of the Caucasian man was another guy sitting in front of him. Those seats are facing each other. And sitting in front of me is a girl. And I remember her to be like Asian, either Chinese or some sort. So I'm in the dream and I don't realize that I'm dreaming. And I'm talking to these people, and obviously I know these people. We're all headed somewhere together right now. And the guy next to me, he had a laptop, and I had like this briefcase. The girl in front of me also had a briefcase. So it seemed like something business related, like we were all headed somewhere to take care of some stuff. I remember a joke was made and all four of us were just weak. I remember just hearing the guy next to me just hysterically just laughing. And I was laughing too. And then the laughing stopped. And I'm looking at the guy next to me, and something is starting to happen in my brain. I'm starting to feel like, wait, who's this guy? And I just start looking around the train, and I'm starting to realize that not only do I not know the guy next to me, the guy in front of him, or the girl in front of me, but I have no idea where the fuck I am or where we're going. Looking at the train, it looks weird. I'm looking out the window, nothing looks familiar. Obviously, it's a dream. And once I realize this, I start to feel like I know something that everybody else don't. So I'm finna put y'all on. You know, in hindsight, I don't think that was a good idea. I look over to the guy next to me and I tell him, yo, this is a dream. We're dreaming right now. What I was thinking in that moment, knowing that I was fully conscious, I'm thinking that these other people are also fellow dreamers who are just in here dreaming with me. I'm thinking maybe if I help them realize they're dreaming, they'll realize it and we'll all have like a conversation. I don't know. That's not what happened. The guy was like, what? I said, bro, this is just a dream. How do you know me? We don't know each other. And I look at the girl in front of me. I'm like, I don't know her either. We all don't know each other. This is just a dream, guys. It was all a dream. And the girl who was sitting in front of me looks up at me. She's like, this is not a dream. Like, no, but it is. And she looks at me. And I could see in her face that she is getting progressively angrier. She is getting frustrated. She looks dead at me and she says, are you kidding me? The two guys next to me are talking to each other like unbelievable. I don't know how she figured out. I don't know. The girl stood up and said, let's go. Two guys follow her and everything went black. And the next thing I know, I'm in a different dream. Much like the previous dream, in this dream, the first few moments of the dream started off as me not knowing that I'm dreaming. And we're in this field now and there's mad people around. And there's this main lady in front of the crowd talking at the crowd. And I remember I was all the way in the back of the crowd. As this lady is yelling, it dawns on me again. This is a dream. So what do? I turn to the person next to me and I let it be known that we're all just dreaming right now. The person looks at me and says, oh my God. I turn around and everybody disappears except for 3 people. They're looking at me, I'm looking at them. I remember somebody said, not again. The girl walked up to me really close. At this point, I'm realizing, wait, these are the same motherfuckers from the train. And the girl tells me, she got real close to my face and said, you ruined everything. Damn. And just walked away. And the other 2 guys followed her again. And as she's walking away, I hear her say, ever so frustrated, now we gotta start over. And that was the last lucid dream I had that night. Yep. I always wonder why they get so mad. I don't know, it's a phenomenon that I can never explain. But what do you guys think, or do you guys have any similar experiences? Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram, keep up with the tea. Normally I would say subscribe to my YouTube channel, but you know, it was terminated and I'm still waiting to hear back. But I love you, my abducted humans. I will see you guys in the next video from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
So tonight's scary story is about a girl who's had a bunch of weird things happen to her, and then she had a sleep paralysis incident that is probably the most terrifying I have ever heard in my life. I do want to start off by saying that the scary thing about sleep paralysis is that doctors still to this day do not know why people hallucinate while they have sleep paralysis. They do know why people have sleep paralysis, but they don't understand why people have these hallucinations. You would figure that in today's day and age, doctors would at least know about it. And the scary thing about this is people are constantly seeing the same entities, people that I've never met before, seeing the exact same entities while they are sleeping. So how do you explain that? In the story that I'm about to tell you, the girl who is having the sleep paralysis actually wakes up and she is still hearing things that she was hearing in her sleep paralysis. So let's begin with the story. So the girl who sent me the story, her name is Brittany, and I'm going to tag her in the description so you can comment and she's going to see the comments, so feel free to ask any questions if you want. Brittany is a stay-at-home mom and she has 3 kids. She has 2 daughters and 1 son. Brittany has had scary things happen to her entire life. For instance, like she'll feel a presence that she feels. She actually feels it, but she can't see it, but she knows what it looks like in her head. Other times she'll be in a room and a door will open for absolutely no reason when nobody is there. Other times she'll see stuff that is swaying back and forth, but there will be no breeze whatsoever. During this time, she was constantly feeling like she was being watched, but she didn't know by who, just constantly feeling like she was being watched. So Brittany has had sleep paralysis her entire life, a couple times a year. Sometimes years will have more sleep paralysis than other years, but she does have sleep paralysis quite often. So when Brittany would first have sleep paralysis, she wouldn't see anything, she would only hear things, and sometimes she would just feel things. So it wasn't starting off by seeing anything. Around the time she was 12 or 13 years old, she actually started to see things at this point. Most of the time, it would be her sleeping in the room and she would be looking at something and it would morph into like a sleep paralysis entity, something scary. One time, this huge black mass with long, spindly fingers jumped on her bed. It would just get closer and closer to her with its fingers in her face. And you guys may think that that is scary. That is absolutely nothing compared to what she experienced when she was 27 years old. The sleep paralysis incident actually starts off in a dream. And it's important to note that her and her family had just gotten back from a camping trip, and the kids had all slept in the tent with them, and they actually wanted to sleep in their room when they got home from the camping trip, and this is in real life. So they put a mattress on the floor, like an air mattress, and they let their 3 kids sleep on the floor on the air mattress in her room. So everybody is in her room and everybody is falling asleep, and at this point now she is asleep. She starts to dream about earlier in the night when they were all in her room setting up the air mattress, waiting for the kids to get into bed. They're all in the room and she's filling up this air mattress, and all the kids are really excited to sleep in the room with mom and dad, when all of a sudden she sees her son and he starts climbing on the walls really fast, just climbing on the walls, looking back at her, climbing on the walls, looking back at her. He's like, mommy, mommy, look at me, mommy, mommy, look what I'm doing. I did forget to mention actually that she is now in a state of sleep paralysis, so she is no longer dreaming at this point. She knows that she is awake, she knows that she cannot move, and this is what she is seeing. Now she's kind of freaked out because her kid is climbing on the wall, but then she looks over at a light fixture that's on her ceiling and she realizes that it is starting to morph into something black. Her son all of a sudden stops being a little creepy and he looks over at his mom and he's like, Mom, I want to get down now. Mommy, I want to get down now, because he sees the black mass. All of a sudden, her son's face goes from being cheerful and happy to absolutely terrified. He is no longer touching the wall, but he is now just floating closer to the ceiling where this black mass is. Mind you, the ceiling fan is on and he's going closer to the ceiling fan where this black mass is, and he is now at this point in tears, and she is starting to freak out because her body is tensed, it is cramping, she cannot move, she cannot scream, she cannot do anything, and she is seeing her child be attacked by this thing that is just coming closer and closer, then grabs her son, and her son is screaming at this point, Mommy, help me, Mommy, help me, it won't let go of me, it won't let go of me, Mommy, Mommy. Now she had actually had a sound machine on in her room because she can't sleep without a sound machine, and she can actually hear the sound machine going on, and she can see the light flicker in from the street lights come into her room, which is actually happening in real life, by the way, but she is seeing it in her sleep paralysis. All of a sudden, the black mass is starting to form tentacles like arms, and there's a lot of them, and they're just circling around her son like this. He is still screaming for help, and her inner voice is screaming, let go, give him back to me, give my son back to me. But she is unable to mutter a noise or the slightest movement. All of a sudden, she looks at this entity directly in its eyes. She feels her vocal cords start to loosen, and she feels a strength behind her voice that she can only attribute to being a mama bear. And all of a sudden, she screams, leave my family alone! And she says it in real life. Her body loosens up, she's out of the sleep paralysis, and all of a sudden this big thunder cracked outside of her window and it lit up the room. Just no rain, just a big sound of thunder that cracked for no reason. And this is after she's awake, mind you. Then she shoots up violently, gasping for air at this point because she wasn't able to move and felt like she couldn't be able to breathe that entire time. She looks around her room and everything is as is in her room as it was in her sleep paralysis dream, except for everybody is okay, everybody is sleeping, everybody is fine. There is thunder that is slowly crackling back in the distance, and she never has sleep paralysis ever again. And she actually attributes this to her standing up for herself and her family. You guys, sleep paralysis is a really creepy thing. Like when I tell you that I have had sleep paralysis where there have been things in my room that I didn't even know were in like corners of my room, like clothes or something in my room, I'll have sleep paralysis and I will see that in my sleep paralysis, not knowing it was there before I had the sleep paralysis, and wake up and realize that the room was exactly how I saw it in my sleep paralysis, like I said before. And this freaks me out so much. In my opinion, sleep paralysis is 100% a bad entity messing with you in your sleep. That is what I think. That is what I truly believe. And for her to never have sleep paralysis ever again after standing up to this entity, well, what do you think about that? What do you think about sleep paralysis? Tell me. I'd love to know what you think about sleep paralysis because it fascinates me. That is the end of the story. If you guys have any questions for her, any comments, or have ever experienced anything else similar, then drop it in the comments. Also, you can always email me your story. If you have any true scary stories, you can email me at kaisespooky@gmail.com. It's in my bio. And if you stayed for the whole thing, I appreciate that more than you know. As always, you guys mean the world to me. Thank you so, so, so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel where I'll be posting more scary stories. But other than that, I hope you guys have a spooky, spooky night. See you in the next one.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the scariest dreams that I've ever had in my life. And my roommate basically not astro projected into my dream, but she was like, she saw it too. I don't know what that's called, but as I was having my dream, she saw me. Like, she saw what was happening in the dream too. Okay, so I'm in school. Background, I grew up Catholic, and then when I found my own like path in spirituality, that's just what I do now. I'm spiritual. I believe in a higher power. That's what it is. So I'm in school. I befriend a girl and we get really close. We're in the same room. We sleep in the same room. We sleep, our beds are next to each other. Boom. I'm sleeping one night and I get sleep paralysis. That's when you're sleeping and you cannot move. But like, you can see, but you can't move. Now, that was very common for me back then because I felt like I was going through a spiritual warfare where I was battling a lot of the things that was inside of me. And while I was trying to be better, all the bad things that were inside of me were trying to keep me where I was at. So I was going through a lot. And during this time is when this happened. So I'm having a dream or whatever. It starts off normal. And then I realized that I can't move. Like, my eyes are wide open. I tried to turn over or something and I realized I couldn't. I'm like, oh my God, not again. I blink, y'all. I open my eyes again. Why there's a whole group of hooded men around my bed, just standing around my bed. Side note, I had to pray. I prayed before I start like telling these type of stories because I believe like everything holds energy. Things can manifest again. I don't even play like that. So whenever y'all doing these little story times, please pray. Boom. They're all surrounding my bed. They're looking down at me. I cannot see into their hoods. They're all looking down at me and they're chanting and they're yelling and they're loud. They're so loud that in my ears, it sounds like they're standing right here yelling in my ear. But there's also buzzing, like, but buzzing in their voices, if that makes sense. Like, whatever they're chanting, it's like, in my ear, though. I'm terrified. I feel like crying. I can't move. I can't run away. I just have to lay there. I look over at my roommate, because her bed is right next to me. I look over at her. I can see her. That's how I know I was going through sleep. I can see her. Even moving in her sleep, I can see her tossing and turning. I can see her. I try to yell her name. Nothing comes out. As you know, that happens when you have sleep paralysis. So, this goes on. It feels like it goes on for hours. Obviously, that's a lie. But that's how it felt. Every time, it felt like as the moments kept passing by, they're getting closer and closer to my bed, like closing in. At that point, I'm terrified, and I try to scream again, and this time, I screamed, and I screamed loud. I screamed so loud in my dream that I woke up screaming. My roommate woke up because she heard me screaming. I'm crying. What happened? She's like, what happened? I'm crying. She sits with me on my bed, holding me. What happened? I start talking and I start telling her what just happened. Bro, mind you, I'm telling her this and I'm crying. I'm looking down, but she's not saying nothing. I'm like, bro, I think this is a scary ass dream. Like, no comment. Bro, while I look up at her, the look of terror on her face, I stopped crying. I'm like, bitch, what's wrong with you? She was like, bro, I just had that same dream, but I was watching it happen to you. The hooded thing, it didn't happen to me. I was watching it happen to you. That was the dream I just had. We sat there in silence for I don't even know how long, just trying to process whatever the fuck that just was. Best believe I prayed real hard. I called my mom. I told her, call grandma. I was like, I don't know what that was or who it was, who sent it to me, what sent it to me, but no. That was just one of the scariest dreams or paralysis moments that I've ever had. I've had way more, but that was probably the most scariest because she saw it with me. experienced it with me. That was even more scary because whatever it was powerful, and the fact that whatever energy they were emitting, putting out, that shit reached my friend in her dream world. Like, nah.
Look, if you ever had a lucid dream before, you have to stay for this. This shit is crazy. Before I start, I just want to say thank y'all for the support on the last video. I mean, obviously, I can't do this shit every day. If I could, that shit would be fucking crazy. But this one? This has to be the scariest shit. I will never forget this dream until the day I die. That's how fucking terrified I was. So I was in the Yankee Stadium. I guess it might have been like a playoff game or the World Series. Anyway, the Yankees end up winning. The stadium goes crazy. Everybody's screaming and yelling. They're actually running on the field. So I say, fuck it, I'ma run on the field. Before I started this music shit, like baseball was my passion. Like I live, eat, and shit that shit. My favorite player is Derek Jeter. I'm guessing he hit a walk-off hit or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, I'm finna meet my idol. Let's go. To the people that have met their idols or the celebrities that they like, you know that feeling, like that anxious feeling when you see a whole bunch of people surrounded around this person and you want to get to that person because you want an autograph or whatever. You're excited, happy, and anxious. His teammates were surrounding him. People that came from the crowd onto the field, they were surrounding him. News reporters were surrounding him. And I'm in the mix with all that shit. So I'm like, I want to get an autograph by Derek Jeter. I'm moving through the crowd, move out the fucking way. I'm trying to get me a Derek Jeter photo. Everybody chanting his name, people calling his name for interviews, pictures, whatever. Keep in mind, his back is turned. I'm like, yo, Derek! Derek! Before I leave this stadium, I'm getting a picture autograph from Derek Jeter. I'm not leaving the stadium without it. And then all of a sudden, everybody just goes quiet. I'm like, Derek? At the same time, everybody starts turning around and looking at me. I'm like, whoa. At this point, I'm scared. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Everybody's looking at me, and then they start moving out the way. So, like, they start parting the sea. And I see Derek Jeter, but his back is turned towards me. I have paralysis at this point. But I'm able to move, but I can't turn back around. I can't face nowhere. I'm just looking straight. I have paralysis. I can't do nothing else. I don't know what the fuck happened, but my vision zoomed into the back of his head. And he turned the fuck around and his face was deformed. That shit was so fucking disgusting. Like his face was like falling off and it was red. He only had like 2 teeth, but they were long as shit. When I tell you I woke up crying, and the craziest part is that not even a week later, I'm in practice, I get injured and I can't play baseball no more. The doctor said, no sir, you cannot play. I fucked up my wrist and my elbow. I ain't never forgetting that shit.
This is about my scariest recurring dream. I tried to make this video, and as I was talking, more details of my dream came to light. So, basically, I'm in my house. There's a ton of people for some reason. It's like a get-together. But my house is bigger than normal. But it's my house. It looks the same. And I kind of like see this vision. There's 2 ways it happens. The first one is that there's like this really small blob, and I make the mistake of accidentally like feeding it a tiny thing. And then it can start eating bushes and stuff, so it's basically like that one game. But then it's like taking over the whole world. And it's like rolling and stuff, like it's like a blob. Okay, but the one that I normally have, it's where this giant, like, demonic creature, it's like this yearly occurrence where it will come, and it looks inside of people's blinds to see people, like, so that it can eat them. And this thing is, like, insanely scary. Like, it's gigantic, and it's gray, it has red eyes, and smoke is, like, always coming off of it. It has, like, these big claws. It's scary as fuck. So anyways, in my dream, I know that this thing is coming, whether it's the giant blob or the gray monster. And so I'm telling people, I'm like, guys, we need to close all the blinds right now. And they all just fucking laugh at me while there's this monster coming. So I go and close all the blinds, but then people are opening the blinds because they're like, shut up, like you're crazy. And so I have to keep closing the blinds. And then I have to get blankets to close them. And sometimes in my dream, people will help me and they'll cover up all the windows and the blinds. Other times, we'll get eaten, but I don't get eaten because I run. But the whole entire time I have this like impending sense of doom because I know it's coming. I know it's coming directly to my house, and I know it's close. No one knows, and no one believes me. It's insanely scary. So for the blob, I'll see it coming through the woods behind my house, like eating the woods and stuff, and it's coming to like eat my house, I guess. But the blinds protect us. One time I actually got eaten by the blob, and it was basically the earth inside of it. Like everything that it ate was still there. It was just like only the things it ate. Like if it only ate America, only America was there. and more places would join as it ate them. But back to this scary fucking monster. This shit is actually like scary as fuck. Like, so I'll show you my blinds, okay? See how there's light coming inside? Any light coming inside, it can see inside. So I literally have to get blankets because I literally have to cover up the whole fucking house, basically. All the windows, upstairs, downstairs, all of them have to be covered. It doesn't matter if we're only in one room, they all have to be covered. So I'm like literally racing against time before this gray fucking monster comes and eats me. Like the bottoms and the sides and all of my blinds have to be covered because it can see inside. Sorry for the break in aestheticness. But you guys actually have no idea how scary it is. Because these people are eating like their tea and their pastries and shit while I'm fucking like going crazy. And like I'm getting worked up talking about it because this shit's scary. Genuinely scary. And I have this shit like, I truly believe that I get it once a year on the same exact day. I tried drawing it before, but I'm really shit at drawing. So I can only see it in my head, which makes me really mad. Anyways, like, whenever the monsters come, obviously they come to the house. I always get away because I fucking knew that they were coming. The other people are panicking and so they stay. I run. One time I tried hiding from the gray monster in my downstairs closet, except it opened the fucking door, but it was like a tornado for some reason. So I basically ran because the whole entire closet was like uprooted and it didn't catch me, of course. But I wake up, like I jolt awake whenever I'm like, oh fuck, like I get scared too bad that I wake up. Dreams are fucking weird and I hate them, but I also love them. IDK any other details about my monster, but yeah, it's scary as fuck. Okay, bye.
Now, y'all know I hate anything that has to do with sleep paralysis. But here's a story that I found. During my freshman year at a major university in Michigan, I had moved dorms halfway through the year due to some roommate issues. My new dorm room would be shared with a friend from high school. Let's call her Kay. Everything was good. We were a good fit as roommates, in my opinion. We both had an affinity for the paranormal and both had an interest in basic witchcraft as one does. Okay, let's see where this goes. We both had experiences throughout our lives and bonded over them and had fun getting tipsy and performing basic attraction spells in our room. You know what? No comments. I'm just gonna keep reading. Fast forward to a couple months of living in the dorm together. Everything is going great and Kay and I both settle in for the night. I drift off into dreamless sleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, I awaken. It quickly becomes obvious to me that I am experiencing sleep paralysis. I become irritated as sleep paralysis is an annoying occurrence. At that point, I had experienced sleep paralysis less than a handful of times, so I was familiar with the routine but still aggravated by it. I get it. I anticipate the surreal feeling of attempting to fall back asleep completely and simultaneously attempting to wake myself up. But then, things take a turn. Ooh. My dorm bed was pushed flush against the center block wall, closest to our hallway leading to our shared bathroom. Suddenly, I noticed long black fingers curve around the wall. I feel my heart rate pick up, a strong pounding in my chest. I tried to convince myself that I'm just seeing things. This is what sleep paralysis can do to you after all. Okay. Then a completely solid black head begins to peek around the wall, seemingly looking right at me. A featureless, solidly black figure now has half of its body around the wall, facing directly at my sleeping figure. I vividly remember my entire room, the light of the emergency alarm on our ceiling, the TV against the adjacent wall, Kay fast asleep facing the window by her bed. Even more vividly, I remember the terror of attempting to call her name, thinking that if this is a dream and I can manage to scream for her, the shadow man will disappear. Whew. After what felt like an eternity, I finally am able to wake up fully. I never fell back asleep, but actually was just able to start moving again. I told Kay about the experience the next morning, and she told me to look up the various deaths that have occurred in the dorms on campus. At that point, I knew that while my sleep paralysis was very real, so was the shadow man watching me sleep. Y'all, first of all, why are you playing around with witchcraft? Why is it fun to get drunk and do witchcraft? What? And then you're doing attraction spells at that. Like, if you follow me, you already know how I feel about that. This person has 2 more stories from college that they experienced. Let me know if you guys want the other 2 stories down in the comments, and I will post them.
So I had a literal We're in the Matrix dream about 2 months ago. I'm a lucid dreamer. I literally always wake up in my dreams. I have been lucid dreaming since I was a kid. And after having this dream, I have not had a lucid dream in almost 2 months. So I've just decided that I'm going to talk about it because I have no idea what to make of it. You can go watch my dreams playlist on here if you want, but essentially I have lucid dreams all the time. I wake up at the smallest mention of something that is not based in reality. This is frequent for me. It has been happening since I was a little kid. It leads to some very cool dreams, some very interesting stuff, but this one was actually scary. So essentially I had a dream. It was just like all the other dreams. I was in my bedroom, I'm playing the piano. I think I'm 17. I'm at my parents' house. It starts out, I'm doing something kind of mundane and usual. And then I have this strong feeling if I look out of my bedroom window, it's not going to be, the view of the forest that was my parents' backyard. So I look out the window, sure enough, there's dream characters everywhere. There's streets. It's like a whole circus outside. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm dreaming. But I didn't want to say that out loud. And I was alone in my bedroom. So I was like, okay, so there's no dream characters here to kind of take me away. No dream police. So I sit down and I'm like, I'm just going to play the piano. I'm just going to sing. I'm just going to try to be creative in this space. Hopefully I don't wake up and that'll be fine. I'll just be kind of lucid here. So I'm playing the piano and my fingers start doing that dream thing where you're kind of getting sucked into stuff. The piano's kind of being weird. And so I get a little bit freaked out and I go I'm dreaming, stop, whatever. So immediately when I'm I'm dreaming, cut. Immediately the piano stops being weird, the room stops being weird. I kind of look over to the door. There's a woman standing there with a clipboard. So then I'm in this room. This girl's there. She's got a little pixie cut. She's like, oh, you gotta go. She got the clipboard. I'm like, okay, I know I gotta go. But I'm like, can you just answer some questions for me? So she comes over, I'm sitting on my bed, and as I'm asking her these questions about why I have to leave and why I keep waking up in my dreams, I'm kind of looking around and all of a sudden the walls start to be weird. If you've ever seen Community and you know what the Dreamatorium is, it kind of starts glitching. It's am I in some sort of weird white room that has lines and it's almost like a projected virtual reality? That's what it looked like. So as this dream woman's talking to me, suddenly everything turns into this very it's a virtual reality space, and it's almost the VR dies and this other woman is standing there and she's she gets real weird. She's like, oh my god, no, I have to fix this. What? She's like, you were supposed to wake up. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you're just not supposed to be able to access this space while you're in a dream. You should not be here. And I don't know how you got here. And we are going to be in a lot of trouble. And I was like, what do you mean by we? So essentially, she takes me out of this room and we are on some sort of a spacecraft, and she takes me over to this screen. It's in the wall and it's showing past dreams that I've had from this camera perspective, and I'm seeing them and I remember that I've had these dreams. I'm like, how do you have access to this? She's like, I actually have this whole file on you. We've been watching you, and essentially, we know that you can lucid dream, but you're not supposed to be able to leave the dream and come into what is here reality. And I'm on literally, it's a spacecraft, but it was very weird. And essentially she keeps showing me the moments in dreams when I become awake, and she's like, humans aren't supposed to be able to do that, and we don't know why you can do that, but this is you waking up in all your dreams. And there is this shift in the dream, and I can see it from a third person point of view instead of my experience, but it's all dreams that I remember having in the past. And I'm like, I just want to explore, so I don't know what you're talking about. She's just like, no, it goes beyond that. You shouldn't be able to do this. She brings out this folder and it's numbered. I have a number, a case number. And she's just like, yeah, your number, whatever. And we've been watching you for a while because you can do this and nobody else can. And we just want to know why. But essentially, we're going to have to stop it from happening. So I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I start getting really freaked out because I'm lucid. I'm physically in a body. I'm there. Everything feels very, very real, and I'm fully aware of who I am. I know that I'm back asleep on Earth. I'm in a dream. I know everything, but I also have all these memories of all of my dreams as well. And so she takes me into this room, and it's a waiting room, and there's all these people who are dreaming, and they're catatonic, and they all have these handlers, but literally they're catatonic. I'm trying to look at them, get their attention. Nobody is responding. They're all asleep, and something's wrong with them or wrong with their dreams, and they're waiting to be kind of processed. And they're in this room. So then these military people come up to me. They're not United States military. It literally I don't know how to explain it. They seemed human to me, but it felt futuristic or alien or something. I don't quite know. It was this group of people. And they come and they escort me to a bridge of some sort. Not a full bridge, the bridge of a ship. And this is where it gets really weird, but they start asking me about like vaccines or like shots or something. Like they're asking me about that. And I'm like, yeah, like I've got all the shots on Earth that I'm supposed to get. And they were just like, no, like something's wrong with your DNA. Like you're not supposed to be able to wake up here. Like we're going to have to give you this injection and then you'll never be able to lucid dream again. And I was like, excuse me, what? And this handler woman's like apologized. She's like, I'm really sorry that we have to do this, but like we have to do it. You can't be here. And so I'm just like, what are you talking about? They start talking about like B12. I don't know where that came from. They started talking about like certain genes, and then they put these like dots on my veins. I was like, get off of me. But I like can't wake up. I'm lucid, but I can't wake up myself at all. So essentially I have this conversation with these like higher ups, like whoever are the captain or whatever. And they're telling me that like, they're asking me questions. They're asking me about my experience. I'm asking them about like why I can't be there. They're kind of being like, well, that's classified, whatever. And then they like prepare this injection and they give my handler like a shot, and they're just like, okay, you're gonna have to like take her back to the room, give her this injection, and she's never gonna be able to lucid dream again. And I'm like, what? So I get taken back to the room, right, with this woman, and I'm like, please don't do this. Like, I love lucid dreaming. I don't want to not be able to lucid dream. And I kind of asked her, I was like, what is the problem? She's like, she said something about like, I'm able to see beyond and I shouldn't be able to like push through the layers of that reality, but I can, and it's dangerous. So I was like, please don't do this. So then she goes and she leans in and she like doesn't give me the shot. She like squirts it out. She's just like, I'm actually a huge fan. Like, I've watched your videos. Like, I've been following you and I've asked to be assigned to this case because I have been watching you essentially like your whole life. And I think this is like really amazing that you can do this. She's just sort of like, I'm going to help you out. And so essentially she told me to just try to like pull my consciousness back, try to be like as unconscious catatonic as I can be. And like I started crying and she's like, that's fine, but like you have to just like wake yourself up. So I just like pulled my consciousness back and I was like sobbing and I woke myself up. And then it was crazy because essentially like she was telling me like, if they find out I didn't give you this shot, like they're gonna come looking for you. They don't want you to be able to like dream like this again. And then when I woke up, I literally had like 104-degree fever. I was not sick when I went to bed, and then I woke up with this 104-degree fever. Felt like I was dying, and I was sick for like 4 days with like this horrible flu that came out of nowhere when I had that dream. And ever since then, I haven't had another lucid dream. Like at all. In fact, I'm having like weirdly normal dreams, like dreams about stressful things going on in my life, like dreams that would wake me up, and I have not had another lucid dream. So I don't know what to make of that. It really scared me. And to be fair, actually, like I got so delirious with fever. I was like, I told my fiance about this dream, and then I was like, I am going to like go back to sleep and I'm going to make a deal with the people that like if my fever breaks, and because it wouldn't break, like I was taking medicine, my fever would not break for like 3 days. I was like, if my fever breaks, then like I won't lucid dream anymore. And I went to sleep and I do not remember having any sort of a dream about that, but I did wake up, my fever was broken, and I have not had a lucid dream since. So I literally don't know what that means. And if anything, it's really hard to think about because I'm just like, it was so real, and I can very vividly remember being there for like the whole dream and what everything looked like and how futuristic and alien it was. And it was actually really scary. Like when I woke up, I was so paranoid that I wasn't going to be able to remember it. And I was so sick that it was like really hard to even like write it down. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or if anybody else has had any experience like this. Essentially, like I don't want to be like we are stuck in a matrix or anything like that, because maybe dreams are just weird things. But considering I've had psychic dreams, I have dreams about people's deaths, like when they die, I have like premonitions, and that's really connected to the real world. I'm just sort of like, I don't know what to make of this dream. And like I said, it's been 2 months and I don't think I've woken up in a dream since. So that's that.
Hi, something very strange is happening to me. Story of my life. Basically, what's going on is I'm having sleep paralysis, but it's not your average sleep paralysis. Oh no, it couldn't just be that simple. What I have is not even actually sleep paralysis, I don't think. I don't think I've ever even actually had sleep paralysis, but that I don't have another word for it, so just bear with me. I go to sleep, I guess, and I wake up, and I am in the room that I'm sleeping in, watching myself sleep. It's very creepy. Exact same room, I see all of us in our positions, exact like my kids and my husband and everything. me right there, and I try to wake myself up this whole dream, because although my house and everything's exactly the same, there's also like weird little shadowy things creeping and crawling around the house, and they're trying to get to me while I'm trying to get to myself to wake myself up. And this has happened to me for decades now. Well, this has happened to me for like a very long time, like years. It's exhausting. And I'll notice before I actually get to sleep, like I'll be trying to go to sleep, I hear these like loud explosions and like what sounds like a really loud zipper just zipping in my ear, or like things crashing. And I'm just like, I already have insomnia. I already just can't sleep. I've never been a good sleeper. I've already had strange dreams of like creepy stuff. This one's in its own like weird category, and I just want to get a peaceful night's rest. What is this? How do you make it stop?
Okay, hear me out. I just woke up from this experience and I'm doing this shit in real time. My hair is a mess. I don't even fucking care. Please tell me that one of you guys has ever experienced, like, I don't think it's sleep paralysis. I think it's a version of sleep paralysis, but I don't think it's sleep paralysis itself. It's like the false awakening, I think it's called. So you think that you're awake, like your body tricks you into thinking you're awake. You're in the same environment you fell asleep in. People that you live with are in the picture. They could be talking to you. They might look a little weird, a little scary. Scary shit starts to happen around you, and you realize, oh my God, I'm not awake. It's a false awakening. So then you go back to sleep and it happens again. You fake wake up again, and then maybe now you're in a different situation, but you're in the same place you were in. And again, scary things start to happen. You realize you're not awake, and then it becomes a loop where, like, the one I just had was one of the worst I've ever had, if not the worst. And I'm literally imagining I'm crawling on my floor, banging on things so that people in my house can hear me and come help me, even though I know in my brain I'm not. I'm praying that I'm actually crawling and can get help, but I know I can't, and I know I'm not. So my brain is awake, my body isn't, and it is literally one of the most terrifying things. I've had this maybe a handful of times in my life, and every time it happens, I am terrified to sleep for like a week after, because I do not want it to happen. I woke up, I was sweaty, I wanted to cry, and it is terrifying. So I just need to know if anybody else has experienced it, because I know sleep paralysis is a pretty normal thing, but has anybody ever experienced the false awakening? And if you have, please let me know so I feel a little less alone. But also, if you have, I'm so sorry, because it is one of the worst things I've ever experienced.